All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about the skills that really separate a good software architect from a truly great one. And surprise, it's not just about designing the most elegant systems, it's about negotiation and leadership. It's about navigating the human element to actually bring those incredible designs to life.
This quote from Gerald Weinberg, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We spend all this time learning to solve complex technical puzzles, but so often, the real roadblocks aren't in the code, they're in the conference room. Your brilliant design is only as good as your ability to get people to believe in it, and that's where people skills become your most powerful tool.
So, does this sound familiar? You've poured days, maybe weeks, into crafting the perfect architecture. It's solid, it's scalable, it's beautiful. But then you present it, and you're met with a wall of questions and challenges. It's a super common frustration, and you know what? It's the big, flashing sign that your job has just shifted from a purely technical one to a very, very human one.
And that gets us to the core of the architect's people problem. You see, a developer can work deep in the code, and their work might not be seen by everyone. But your decisions, they're front and center. They have wide-ranging, often expensive consequences. And that high visibility, well, it naturally attracts a lot of scrutiny. That's where it all begins.
Think about it like this. For an architect, almost every single decision is a negotiation. You're sitting at the center of a table with all these different people. You've got business leaders who are worried about the cost, and you've got developers who have their own, totally valid technical point of view. Your job isn't just to have the right answer, it's to lead those conversations and build a real consensus around that answer.
So, first up, let's talk about negotiating with business stakeholders. This is such a critical balancing act. You have to be able to translate all that complex tech jargon into something they understand. Real, tangible business value. If you get it right, you build an incredible amount of trust. But if you get it wrong, you could derail the entire project before a single line of code even gets written.
Okay, so picture this common scenario. A senior VP comes back from a conference, all fired up, and they declare that the new system absolutely must have 5 nines of availability. It's a great buzzword, right? Sounds impressive. The only problem is they probably have no idea what that actually means in terms of cost and complexity. Your job is to guide them to a more realistic place without just shutting them down and saying no.
This is where data becomes your absolute best friend. Instead of arguing about abstract percentages, you show them a table just like this one. And suddenly, 5 nines isn't just a number anymore. It's the very real difference between about 86 seconds of downtime a day and less than a single second. That makes having a conversation about the real cost of things like multi-region redundancy and automated failover a whole lot more concrete. Now, this is a tactic I love, divide and conquer. Instead of a blanket no, you ask a really strategic question. You say, okay, I hear you. Which specific parts of the system truly need that level of availability? Is it the customer checkout flow? Probably. Is it the internal admin panel that 3 people use once a week? Probably not. This collaborative approach lets you focus that high-cost requirement only where it adds the most value, and you end up saving a ton of time and money. All right, let's switch gears and talk about negotiating with your technical peers. This is a totally different beast. You're dealing with smart, opinionated people who are not going to be swayed by your title or some kind of authority. With this group, earning respect is absolutely everything.
This slide just perfectly contrasts the two approaches. On one side, you have the ivory tower architect just dictating how things should be. That's a surefire way to create resentment. But on the other side, you have the collaborative leader. When you share the reasoning, the why, behind your decisions, you're not just giving orders, you're empowering your team with context, and that's how you build the buy-in you need to actually succeed.
And here is just a brilliant win-win negotiation tactic. A developer is really passionate about an alternative framework. Don't just shut them down. Challenge them. Ask them to prove that it meets all the project's core non-functional requirements. What happens next is great. Either they discover its flaws for themselves, or they might just innovate a better solution you hadn't even considered. No matter what, the project wins.
You know, all these negotiation skills we're talking about, they're really just the foundation for something even more important: leadership. As an architect, your influence goes way beyond just technical decisions. You are a leader, and you're responsible for guiding your team toward a shared technical vision.
At the very heart of architectural leadership are what we call the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, clarity,
and conciseness. And mastering these isn't just about being a good communicator. It's the key to preventing all that accidental complexity and misunderstanding that can absolutely sink even the most technically perfect projects.
This slide really highlights the ultimate balancing act for an architect. You have to be a visionary, right? Designing for the future state of the system. But at the same time, you have to be a pragmatist, totally grounded in the real-world constraints of budget, deadlines, and your team's current skill set. Because a brilliant design that can't actually be built is, well, it's a failed design.
So how do we actually put all these leadership principles into action? Well, it really comes down to the small, deliberate choices you make in your conversations every single day. Let's look at a couple of really powerful examples. Just look at this. Such a tiny change in phrasing, but it has a massive impact. "You need to" is a directive. It basically closes the conversation. But "have you considered?" That's an invitation. It invites collaboration, it respects the other person's expertise, and it transforms a command into a real conversation.
Now here's a powerful little psychological hack. Learn how to turn a request into a favor. As you can see here, by framing a task as someone helping you out, you tap into our natural human desire to be helpful. This isn't about manipulation. It's a simple, really respectful way to build goodwill and, let's be honest, get things done more effectively.
And this quote from Theodore Roosevelt just perfectly wraps up the core message here. Your technical brilliance is important, of course, but it's secondary to your ability to connect with people. At the end of the day, your true impact as an architect is going to be measured by the trust and collaboration you build within your team.
The key takeaway here is that these aren't just theories. These are real tools for your toolkit that are ready to be used right now. So as you head into your next meeting or your next design review, I want to leave you with this question. Which conversation this week will you lead differently?